Hey, what's up, bud? Now, before we get started, I want to tell you right away, the title is not clickbait. This really happened. It was one of the worst weekends of my entire life. Oh my gosh, let's get started. About 5 years ago, I was a host on a French television show called Au Défi. Basically what it was a bunch of judges, celebrity judges. I was the magician, there was a dancer, a juggler, and the host. And the premise of the show was we would invite different schools from all over Canada to come compete. There was treasure hunts and obstacle courses. There was spelling games. So different schools would come to our studio in Toronto and film with us for the weekend. So this means we were around kids all day, every day, 12 hours a day. The parents were there too. So the parents were the people in the crowd cheering their kids. Yay, Billy! We got to know the kids and the parents really, really well. Spending 12 hours on a closed TV set, you get to know people really well. You get to, play with the kids, joke with the parents. The parents love us because basically we're glorified babysitters. Not even glorified, we are babysitters. And a very important part of the story is that all of us stayed in the same hotel. The production staff, the hosts, the kids, the parents, everybody stayed in one hotel to cut costs and just so we can control the kids and the parents better, so we can bust them on set when we need them. Anyways, so at night, the kids would go to bed around 9 o'clock. From 8 to 9, they would assemble and play in the halls, and they'd play hockey in the hallways. The adults of this story would go out to a restaurant. We'd have a couple pints, we'd drink, we'd have some fun. On this particular winter night, it was very cold, I remember that. We go to the restaurant, just the staff, and we're pounding a few drinks back. Then we go back to the hotel. We get in the elevator to go back to retreat. And I think there was 4 or 5 of us. And then somebody gets off, they press floor number 3, they get off, and then the doors open, and I see Cole. Cole is a little kid that it was in a school from Sudbury in Canada. And he was a little mischievous little guy. We had a lot of fun with him. So the doors open and I'm like, Cole! And I grab his winter coat and I bring him in the elevator and everybody start laughing. The elevator doors closed. And that was the joke. We thought it was funny because the elevator doors closed. I grabbed him from his floor and we're going up. So then we're messing with him and then he looks up at me and he says, "Who are you?" And I look down at him and that's not Cole. It's a random kid that I just took by the winter coat, brought in the elevator, the door shut in front of his mother, who was standing on the side. I didn't see the mother. So now imagine, put yourself in the shoes of this poor mom who sees the doors open, somebody grab their kid, bring him in the elevator, and the door's closing. So right now we're freaking out, we're all laughing, we're all ha-ha, and then he says, "Who are you?" Immediately I let him go. I put my back in my pants, and we're kind of panicking, but we're still kind of, it's still lighthearted. And then we press the floor number 2 again to go back down, and then the doors open, and the mom is standing there fuming. She says, "Trevor, get out of the elevator." He gets out of the elevator, and in the time it took from go from one floor to the second floor, I didn't have time to charm the kid or befriend the kid or be like, "Hey, I'm a magician, watch this," and like,
"Oh, will you grab some candy? It tastes good."
No, none of that. "Who the are you? You kidnapped my kid." And I'm like, "No, ma'am, no, I'm a kid's entertainer. We're filming a TV show." "I don't want him on any TV show." I'm like, "No, ma'am, we were filming, we thought it was somebody else." "How dare you grab my child like that? I want to speak to the manager. Who's your boss?" And I'm like, and by this time it's I'd say 9:30 at night. The production staff, we have a boss on the set, on a TV set. The hierarchy is very, very respected. There's the producers, the director, the actors. So she's like, "Who's your boss? Bring him out right now." So we had to call my boss, the executive producer, who's already not a very pleasant man, very serious. And we have to wake him up, get him out of his room, try to get him to explain to the mom what just happened. He's all confused. He just woke up. His hair looks like mine right now, disheveled. And he looks at me and he is fuming. And the mom's like, "I'm going to call the cops." And he's like, "Maybe you should." And he said this comment, "Maybe you should." And then the mom kind of changed tone. She's like, "What the hell?" She thought it was a big scam. Editor's note, she was also screaming, "You guys smell like alcohol." So the hotel manager comes. We had to explain. By this time, I was alone explaining. The other staff kind of bye when they saw Ray, Big Ray. They kind of left me to my own defense, I guess. So I had to smooth it over. The police did not come, but the mom she wanted to press charges. She didn't understand that there was kids staying in the hotel. It was absolutely horrible. The story doesn't end there. That part does. But the reason this was the worst weekend of my life doesn't end there. The next day, Big Ray would not look at me whatsoever. He was at the executive producer table, and we're filming right in front of him for 10 hours. And not once during those 10 hours did he look at me. So this day was the last day of filming. It was the third or fourth day, I believe. Last day of filming. We're in the finals. Now, keep in mind, I'm a judge in this show. So the last game to decide who's going to the finals, this is a very important game. It was kind of like what do you call it? It was a word unscrambling game. Basically, they gave the kids these big letters on a board, and the kids were face to face, but you couldn't see the other team's letters. It was the same word. So the kids had to work together, and these are like 7 or 8-year-old kids. They had to work together to unscramble these words to make a word. So I'm judging one side, my buddy Ian is judging the other side, and the producers come up to us. So before the kids can see the letters, there's drapes on the letters. Before the kids can see the letters, the producers come up to us and like, the word is spaghetti. And I'm like, great. So the kids start, and then keep in mind, the parents are in the crowd here, and they've just spent the whole weekend watching their children try to win this prize. So they're competitive. There's a lot of soccer moms, and I'm not talking about the fun kind. The that's my kid, and that's kind of like the woman in the elevator, but her snarkiness was warranted. Anyway, so the game starts. We know the word is spaghetti. I see the kids unscramble bone. They're unscrambling like, oh, spaghetti, spaghetti. And they write it Spaghetti. And then they go, yeah. And then I have a whistle, and I look at him like it's misspelled. So I go, like that. So the kids are like, ugh. So they try and, that's not the word. They try and re-scramble it. And then they write it again, Spaghetti. And then I'm like, and at this point, on my second whistle, I'm starting to hear the parents in the crowd go, no, they got it. And I'm like, huh? And the kids go, ah. And I go, I panic, and I go, again. And the word was spelled correctly, but because I'm French, my dad always said, hey, tonight we're gonna eat some speg. Hey, on va manger du speg ce soir. So I thought spaghetti was written Spegghatti, which wasn't the case, and the parents in the crowd were the first ones to tell me very, very vocally. So after my third or fourth whistle, I'm just panicking. I'm like, people are freaking out. The moms are yelling at me. I can hear, he's the one who abducted the kid in the elevator last night. So this whole big thing. So we stopped the game, and then we just refilmed. They got it right. They got it before the other team. So they got it right. But let me tell you, the executive producer, Big Ray, sitting at that table, was fuming. Say fuming one more time. If he could have fired me, he would have on the spot. That was the absolute worst weekend of my life. I abducted a child, and I almost, ruined an entire weekend's worth of competition. What do you think of that, bud? So the moral of the story is, please pick and choose wisely who you grab and pull in an elevator, especially if they're minors in a hotel at 9:30 p.m. at night. What do you guys think of the story? Do you guys like this story time? I actually love doing this. I got a notebook full of these crazy stories. Leave your comment below if you want me to keep doing this. If you want to see something else, I'm here for you. I read all of your comments. If you guys are new here, please subscribe. I want you guys to stick around, be part of the craziness that will ensue. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace, bye.
How will you grab some candy? It tastes good. Just one bite. It will leave you satisfied. Come on, grab some candy. You'll love it. I made it myself.